Hello, Connective. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you don't know how I work, I put a bunch of different cards from different decks on the table that tell a story and we talk about it. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe. Don't smash anything. And with that being said, let's get into this energy. This is a general reading for Gemini. So Gemini, I'm going to look into the energy today, see what the universe wants to tell you. I'm going to go for the energy oracle first. They are shuffled. I'm just moving around. Let's see. They actually seem like they're fine. That's okay. Oh, what I see right now is the fourth chakra on the table. Archangel Raphael. Let's see what other card is hiding from us. A minute, like a couple more cards to talk about here today. See if we can get anything else out of the angel. Sorry, I called it the angel guide oracle before too. This is the energy oracle. All right. Oh wow. Okay. Well, I saw that action card while I was shuffling. That's the one that turned over first down there in that pile. Okay, I think we are done with the energy. Angel of Love was on the floor. Angel of Love was on the floor. Okay, hold on. I might have a couple angels here. All right. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so first we have fourth chakra, Archangel Raphael. We'll put him at the top. And then I did see another angel. Second chakra, Archangel Ariel. There you go. So our passion and our heart. Our passion and our heart. All right. And then we have, well, we'll put that angel of love up there too. All right. And we are going to go with the thinking woman next. Could be thinking woman, thinking man, thinking person. Then we'll go with, wow. All right, so caring connections. And down there with caring connections, we have the door to value. And rest and rejuvenation. Put that one down here. The door is gonna have to go up here. We have the action card here. Put that there for now. And Angel of Strength. Oops. Yeah, this actually did look like the Strength card. I didn't realize it was the Angel of Strength. So 1, 2, 3. We have 4 angels on the table. Gemini and a door. I'm not even going to mess around. Let's just pull more cards. All right. Well, this doesn't have to be like romantic love. It could be, you know, love between family members or friends. There's an awful lot of just kind of togetherness and love on the table. I see a little bit of indecision. This card usually means that somebody doesn't know their worth. Let's see if that's what it means here. The cards always tell us if there's a self-esteem issue. Might not come out until the extended, but it comes out. Self-esteem issues are hard to spot because, how do I put it? If you don't have self-esteem, you kind of don't realize what you're missing. I mean, it's like that for everything, you know, what you don't know, you know, you won't miss necessarily, but, you know, people talk about it because they see it in like, it shows its head in different, like different, I was going to say different aspects, but I mean more like different aspects of life. You know, people will see it like if you have a hard time, you know, entering into the beauty contest, but they might not see it like in your relationships at play, you know, your romantic relationship specifically, because, you know, I always call like behind closed doors, you know, conversations that people have that, you know, even conversations that people have that other people don't know about or only hear parts of, which again isn't the same thing, because every time you hear somebody's side or point of view, it comes through that filter, right? So let's see what Alice in Wonderland has to say. Never jam today. Ooh, that's a new card. Never jam today. We got our handy magnifying glass with our colored cards with white writing. Yeah, never jam today. Promises that never come to be, empty words, not living in the now. Never jam today. We also have keeping up. Let's just read it. Let's just immense effort, advance. So we're having a hard time even just doing this. And which one is this one? Lead the way. I think it's another new card. Be a leader. Show others how it's done. You can help others. That's funny. That's like in this deck, we might as well pull the step up and lead card. That's been coming up for everybody. And I asked my guides for different messages. So they got me different messages that are the same. They always do that. All right. Or I get different messages like real briefly, and then they just go right back to where they were. Okay. Never jam today. Ooh, okay. You know, it almost seemed like the relationship, you know, I'm going to look at it as a relationship, like a love relationship right now, because I feel like if I look at it as, excuse me, if I look at it as like family or friends, that it's going to be like where it could be multiple people. But I think for this story, we should just like focus on maybe like one person. Because, you know, this like empty promises card, I mean, sure, it could be everybody that like Gemini deals with. You know, I have seen that issue before where multiple people make empty promises. Like it's not just one person. Like it could be everybody. Keeping up. You know what? Honestly, it does look like everybody's on the table. Even if there is like love, like extreme love involved with like passion, like a, you know, fiery relationship, it seems like everybody's involved here. So, what do the moons have to say? They're not talking, so we're going to pull from the bottom. Okay, we have, all right, last quarter moon in Gemini. Clear your mind. So last quarter moon in Gemini. We have last quarter moon in Virgo, attend to the details. And then we have full moon in Sagittarius, see the bigger picture. This card has been coming out a lot, but not with attend to the details. Although I did talk about in another reading about how you have to look at each individual aspect of it and then put it together into the bigger picture. Because at the time, the sign that I was talking to, which I believe was Scorpio, it was talking about seeing the bigger picture. And I was talking about how they already dissect stuff. Gemini, you might not necessarily be looking so much at the details. I mean, you should be, could be kind of thing, you know, seeing like attention to detail, basically. I mean, you'll know which scale you fall on as far as, you know, how much you have an attention to detail. A lot of times people are surprised when people do have attention to detail. So sometimes you'll hear it from your boss just because they're not necessarily used to it with other people. There's a little bit of thinking going on the table. There's the heart chakra. So regardless of what kind of situation this is, the heart is involved. Plus we have the angel of love. But we also have like passion and the angel of strength, which tells me that there's issues. There's issues with basically how one person is relating to another. And usually that action card is that, you know, action that needs to be taken. These cards are not cooperating at all. Action usually means that some action needs to be taken, but we also have rest and rejuvenation on the table. So we're either supposed to be resting before we take action, which is a possibility. I don't really feel like that's what these cards are saying. Both of these rows here. Let's just see what this blind spot's trying to do here. It's kind of like they don't want to be moved around. So I did shuffle them earlier. Usually I just separate them into two piles and shuffle them and then kind of shuffle them together because the deck has a lot of cards in it and they're thick. Oh, there we go. Let's just see card number 70. That's the sigil for that card. Oh, this card, for some reason, also looks like action to me. This doesn't look like a bad reading. It doesn't look like, you know, anything even bad is in it, but it looks like somebody's like wavering or thinking. They're pausing. They're trying to maybe assess the situation, possibly just clear their mind. They're wavering. That's the blind spot. Yeah, they're wavering. So, let me see here. Oh, okay. Okay. I think the reason why this looks like this, a lot of times there's endings on the table or some kind of ending. I mean, lately I have seen a couple of readings where there weren't endings on the table. So you kind of go into, instead of this mode of talking to Gemini about what happens when it's over, you know, you're actually talking about, you know, either like keeping it together or what happens when you keep it together or what happens like after you keep it together, after you decide you're going to keep it together kind of thing, right? Because you realize the value in that relationship or that, you know, that person perhaps. You know, this person here could be, you know, either side of the relationship. It doesn't have to be a woman or a female energy that's over here thinking, but somebody is contemplating something. It doesn't have to be leaving. It could be a contemplation of moving forward in some way, moving the relationship forward in some way. Maybe it's a possibility that the way that it's been moving forward hasn't been, I don't want to say like a false start, but almost like a stutter. So not like a start where you think it's going to go, but then it doesn't. But more of like, you know, it was going to start. 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 But now, you know, you've been trying to move forward, right? And this right here, I mean, I do see empty words. So I see promises broken. But this doesn't necessarily have to be this person, you know, that let's say if it was a relationship and there was another person, you you know, that other person might be a Virgo or a Sagittarius. They could even be a Gemini. You know, it's not just that, but it could be like an influence that's not part of those two, that is the breaking the promises, or, you know, maybe even causing the stutter in the moving forward, right? Not sure why these guys are here yet, except for usually this means take a break to figure out what's going on. I mean, a lot of times that is kind of synonymous with clear your mind, you know. They always say, like, even if you didn't need to, even if you weren't in a situation where you didn't need to clear your mind, that you should always almost like schedule it. Like when they talk about meditating, like for, you know, 10, 15 minutes, just stop what you're doing. It could even be 5 minutes, long enough for you to sit there and connect with yourself. Because then a lot of times you're at least in a state where you can kind of look at things a little differently. You know, I mean, this guy literally looks like he's meditating, right? And then you would clear your mind. You would hope. You know, I know sometimes it's hard to sit down and actually clear your mind. You could have a lot of stuff flying through your mind when you're trying to clear your mind. But that's not really part of this story here. If there's any wavering going on, it's not because they're, you know, not able to, it's because they don't want to, or they're not sure if they want to, right? Door to value. I mean, usually I use these, like the angels, like this angel too. She doesn't have a chakra, but she's still like an angel, another angel of strength. I keep forgetting that's an angel. Here on the table, like there could be a lot of people on the table, like even with the thinking woman, there could be a lot of on the table. I mean, this is even like a person on a card, you know, there could be a lot of people involved in this. And again, the situation doesn't have to be romance or love. It could be work. It could be, you know, outside influences all the time affect people at work, you know. Keeping up, you know, I'm looking at it as the stutter, but a lot of times with this card, it's kind of like running after somebody, you know, or trying to keep up with someone, you know, which could be part of dealing with somebody else. It just depends on what's going on. It could be something as simple as comparing, you know, whatever it is they have to what you have, and so you have to buy what they have to keep up. Or it could simply be like actually keeping up with that person, like when you know somebody, but you're not up with everything that's going on in their lives because you don't talk to them as much anymore, you know. But like I said, you know, for this situation, it almost seems like just a non-start over and over again. This card is saying it will start, but I think for the purposes of where we are in this story right now, it hasn't started yet. You're supposed to start it. But again, just like every other reading, there's stuff that has to be done first. And this is after you this is after you clear your mind. And you clear your mind after you realize that stuff isn't going to go the way you wanted it to go, kind of thing. So that's I guess the progression of the story backwards is this door to value. I always say it could be anything. Anything that's of value to you. So it could be a relationship, it could be a job. It could be any person. It could be, you know, a son, a daughter. It could be a business. It could be a hobby. It could be a gift that you have, like, you know, some kind of, like if you're a healer, you know, and it has, you know, value to you, has value to other people. This could be anything. We have the heart and the passion on the table, but we also have love. So we don't just have the heart, we have love, right? But we also have strength, which you don't usually need strength to get through situations that are great. you know. Then we also have contemplation or wavering, the act of not really moving towards those caring connections for some reason. And it could be too that somebody's doing too much and they actually do just need to stop because they're not going to be able to clear their mind until they do. You might have to stop. If this is you and you've been going, you might have to stop. It doesn't have to be for a long time. I know sometimes that throws things off. If you got a schedule or something's going on, you're trying to do something and you know, I get changing the routine could throw you off, but I think that's the idea sometimes, truly. I think if you've been doing too much, if you're trying to figure something out, like, again, this could be something like, you know, working out your budget. Yeah, I mean, you may not love it or whatever, but you might be passionate about it because you know something's up and you need to take a look at it, right? You might need strength to do that. You know, stuff's on the line. You got other stuff you might lose if you don't pay attention. If you're like, you know, why am I spending so much money, right? And then you got to figure out, oh, because I'm trying to keep up with my neighbor and, you know, and I'm doing all this. I'm putting my money into stuff people are telling me is going to do this and do that, but it doesn't do anything, you know. I do it because I care about these people, but what I really need to do is stop, you know. It could be something like that. You know, I've been trying to do this over and over and over again, but I haven't been able to actually sit down and do it, you know. Maybe every time I think about doing it, I just roll my eyes because, you know, it's not really something that I want to do. It's not something that I want to do. I'm wavering. I should, but I don't want to. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Somebody's telling me to do it. My significant other is telling me to do this. But I just don't feel like looking into it right now, you know. This is showing others how it's done. A lot of times we put stuff off, you know, that we don't do. Maybe we don't want to do it a lot, but we really care about the person that's asking us to do it or something like that, and so we do it. We push past not wanting to do it. We do it for other, you know, other people. A lot of times it's supposed to be that way, that incentive. You know. Wavering, I get like needing to do something and not wanting to do it. Sometimes if you even just do it like mostly, in other words, you know, maybe not all of the details. Maybe you just start with like the bigger picture, just kind of put things down, you look at it, you know, maybe it even raises another question like, why does this look this way? And then you can kind of, you know, get into it, just one piece of it, you know, not be overwhelmed, take action, but not be to the point where you're overwhelmed and you need to take a break from it. You know, you just kind of look at it for what, you know, you have the energy to look at, and then you just kind of go in from there. You can look at different aspects of it. Sometimes you can put it away and go back to it maybe, you know, if it's something like that you can do. I mean, I can't think of anything right now that you can't do that with. You pause, put it on pause, whatever it is. Save it, go back to it. Just stop, make notes. This is where I was. Anything. You can just walk away from it. I mean, even if you were, you know, wanted to do this, you loved it, and you sat down, you know, even if you did it for 8 hours, you'd still have to take a break, right? I mean, you'd want to. You'd be more efficient that way anyway, even if you really were trying to get something done, right? So take a break. Do it, then take a break. Go back to it or go back to it later, you know? Just see what it is that you're supposed to see and then get into the details when you're up for it. Do it little by little. Take baby steps. Especially if nobody else will do it, or, you know, you came up with the idea and no one will do it, and so you have to do it. And try to be interested in it if possible, you know. If it's important, might as well. You'll be able to at least be a better judge of what you're looking at, what you should do to fix it, you know, or to just see it for what it is and know, oh, it's fine. Everything's fine. I don't, you know, not all freaked out when I'm looking at this. I don't need to dig into anything. Everything looks normal. You know, I've covered myself. We're good. Now I can go and tell others, you know. And then there is a little bit of a danger on this table of, you know, I've looked at it. I don't really want to tell this person what I see. Let me just garble it up before I actually act, before I actually go do the thing that I shouldn't do, which is just kind of sort of look at it, and way before it's time for it to actually be done, you know, I just say it's done. I tell that significant other everything looks good and, you know, there's no problem. There is. And we have wavering on the table, and we have empty words. There's a possibility that in this situation you will not want to face facts. You will not want to face up. You will not want to speak up to say what's truly going on. And that's why there's a little bit of relationship here on the table. Sometimes we get nervous about something, especially if it's something we haven't dealt with in a relationship before. We just get nervous about the conversation. I feel like it's the conversation a lot of times. The conversation itself like changes things, stop things, makes people look at things another way. Some people just don't even want to have that conversation, right? They just don't even want to have, it doesn't matter what it's about. It's that that thing that they consider to be that conversation, you know? And so they might, you know, not be wholeheartedly in the conversation or not 100% tell the truth, you know? And the question really is, how much is this relationship or this friendship or this person worth to you? What's it worth to you? Because I'm getting the indication in a lot of these readings, and it's like a side note, I haven't really mentioned it, but I've been kind of seeing it, and I've been kind of seeing it out in the world. I think that to a certain extent, Gemini, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily you. You could be looking outside and seeing, you know, another person as being like, kind of like what I'm talking about, where they don't 100%, you know, divulge, or at the time they're supposed to. They don't, you know, they don't talk about it, you know. But I'm getting the feeling that more and more people are going to get tired of either being, you know, lied to, or just people like bending the truth, you know, the little white lie, whatever the case. I mean, some people, I think they're, you know, everybody has their scale on lies, but I think that to a certain extent, people who lie to other people, the people that are being lied to, they're going to bar all lies. It's going to get to the point where you don't even get to slide anymore. They're not going to put up with it. So it keeps going back to this message on the table, which is how much does this relationship or how much does this person mean to you, right? Maybe the person that doesn't want to always tell the truth might be wavering because they know that they're on borrowed time here on not telling the truth about everything. And it's not that they're always doing something that they need to come clean, but some people actually have a hard time just telling the truth. They just don't, especially if they perceive to be, you know, in some kind of trouble. But, you know, definitely if the conversation is uncomfortable, you know, just say whatever to get out of it. Like when people say, you know, they go see the psychiatrist and they just tell the psychiatrist whatever they want to hear. Kind of thing. And other people are like, I have never heard of that before. If I went to the psychiatrist, I would tell him what I wanted to tell him, right? But a lot of times when people are talking, people who are honest are talking, they don't realize that when other people are talking, they're not always telling the truth. So whatever side of this you might be on, you know, as far as like if you're the person that's looking at this and is thinking about it and may or may not, you know, that one of your things that you're thinking about is that you actually aren't sure if you're going to 100% tell the truth. Consider that. Consider what would happen if the other person did that to you, or where would you stand? And then, you know, depending on, I happen to know, depending on what kind of person you are and what you decide, you know, you may or may not think that that's necessarily a bad thing. But I am going to tell you that if you decide that you may want to go in the direction of not necessarily being 100% truthful, just know that people are getting tired of that. And if you're the person that people haven't always been truthful to you, then you know what I'm talking about. It's the whole reason why you found this reading. Because you're tired of being talked to, either like you'll believe anything, or just like you're too dumb to not understand the difference of what's being said and what's actually really happening. And you're getting tired of it. When you're looking at the details, look at the bigger picture too. Don't just look at what's happening and from whom, but ask yourself why, and then see that bigger picture of it. Not just from their side, but from yours. So in other words, not just what they're doing and what they can gain out of it, but what they expect from you. Because that's part of the reason why this is coming, is because of their perception of what they think that you're going to tolerate, right? So if you haven't had the opportunity to think about how you're going to deal with people like that, one way or the other, you might want to think about it now. This is, again, not to like rubber band people into next week or in the next life, or to, you know, kill relationships, but to really realize like who your friends are, who's playing with you and who's not, especially if you're taking advice from them, right? People around you, you don't really think about it, right? Until so many people say so many empty words that you get to the point where you just kind of go, you know what? I'm seeing this from this person all the time. Right? Let me look at things for what they really are. Figure out how I want to move forward with this person. I may not actually value their friendship. This might not be actually fun for me anymore. And for the person to care about me, they probably wouldn't actually treat me that way. Doesn't even matter if it's just a friend. You start to realize energy, you know, you don't have it anymore, and you're trying to figure out why, and then you realize that you have all these people around you who are draining your energy, just draining your energy for no reason, because they can. Take a moment, figure out who that is, and figure out what you want to do about it. You don't have to do anything right, you know, right at once. You know, especially if there's multiple people who are doing this, you can figure out who you want to act with, first, who you really don't mind just losing. You can just change your number. You know, because I see it too, Gemini. I see how some people are doing the same things and some people aren't having it. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in the extended. There will be an extended for this reading. The link will be in the description. We'll pull some healing cards, and we'll really talk about, you know, once you make a decision like that, you know, the value of a friendship, what's the best way to move through that, right? So we don't feel bad that we're cutting somebody off. I'll tell you right now in this video, you have to make room for the people that matter. If they're not in your life yet, you have to cut out the people that don't matter so that you can get in the people that matter. And they're not going to just come in and look at all, you know, you with your bad friends and then want to be your friend. That's just an energetic way to put it. But that could be literal too. If that situation actually happened, people would see, oh no, I don't want to be friends with those people, right? You have to clear out the people that aren't your friends and make room for the people that are your friends. That are going to be your friends, that you want to be your friends, that will treat you like how you would treat them as friends, right? All right. Let's take it over to the extended and pull some more cards. If this is your reading, meet us over there. If not, until we meet again.